on the heels of what was probably the worst episode of Mandalorian that they have aired so far. And I say this as a big fan of the show. Seasons 1, season 2, love them. I'm a little on the fence about this season. They've had some stuff that's been really, really great. They've had some stuff that's been really, really bad. Tell me again how a battle droid is carrying around a card to a bar that you just happened to come across. Hey, I was searching the body and look at this. Like, let's go check out this club. Oh my God. I was like, really? Did they just do that? Anyway. And we are now, how many episodes we got left? 2?
2.
2 episodes left. They finally introduced the story at the end of the episode 5. Let's retake Mandalore. So great. We only got 3 episodes left. Let's get going. Let's get back to Mandalore. Oh, wait, no. First, we're going to go visit Lizzo and do some robot murder investigation. Oh, and by the way, when we find out Christopher Lloyd does it, we're not really going to have Christopher Lloyd explain why he did what he did. No, he's like nobody wants it. You did it? Yes. At least in Scooby-Doo. In Scooby-Doo, when they would find out who the person behind the mask is, there would be a description about why he did it. And then
Old Man Jenkins, because of real estate issues.
Yes. Yeah. Followed by, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for these pesky kids.
Darn meddling Mandalorians.
I was just waiting for Christopher Lloyd to say, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for these meddling Mandalorians. I was totally waiting for him to say it.
Yeah.
They totally should have put that in there. But anyway, with that being said, we've talked previously about the fact that the numbers for Mandalorian this season have been falling.
They're looking down at the numbers.
They're looking down at them right now.
They're falling.
There they go. Including the fact that I think it was the episode, which one was it that they said hit an all-time low as well? I think it was 2 episodes ago. They said hit an all-time low for the viewership they've had. Well, anyway, more analytics are coming out that are pointing out that overall, they're saying the season of Mandalorian, hold on to your hats, the viewership has dropped 25%. 25%. Now, that still represents a big number. I mean, there's still a lot of people watching Mandalorian. Make no mistake. 75% of a huge number is still a pretty damn big number. But there are, if there were 4 people in this room who were watching the show last year, one of them ditched.
That was me.
That was me. And I don't know. I can't really put my finger on why that might be. Some people have suggested that maybe it's because the long layoff between seasons, maybe. Some people suggesting that maybe it was because other than Andor, which is the best thing I think Star Wars has ever put on TV, this other Favreau Filoni universe Star Wars stuff has not been so good in between. Listen, I know there are people who really like the Obi-Wan series, and that's awesome. I'm not trying to yuck on your yum. I thought it was disappointing. And I know another number of other people thought it was disappointing. Book of Boba Fett. Again, if you liked it, that is awesome. Not trying to yuck on your yum. But I thought Book of Boba Fett, while it had its moments, was pretty bad. And so maybe just the fact that maybe some people just got tired of the Favreau Filoni verse in there. I don't know. Some people thought it was kind of this abrupt thing where you had this huge climax of the story in Mandalorian at the end of season 2, where he hands Grogu over to Luke Skywalker, only to come back for episode 1 and say, wait a minute, they're just back together. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's the quality of this season. I don't know. I think there have been some pretty good episodes. But the numbers falling, they have. And so I'm just really curious now going into the final 2 episodes, because when you look at season 2, I really loved season 2. But a lot of people didn't up until the last episode or 2. Like, a lot of people were kind of down on Mandalorian season 2 until they got in the last couple of episodes, and especially then when Luke showed up, right? Boba Fett showing up was a huge thing. Why didn't we get the Boba Fett from Mandalorian season 2 in the Book of Boba Fett show? Because that Boba Fett was the frickin' John Wick of the Star Wars universe. I wanted that Boba Fett, but at any rate. So I'm not really sure. So I don't know. Maybe their plan is they just kind of skated along the entire 3rd season, and now they're going to try to really kill it with the last 2 episodes. I don't know. Does
they're
Leia
gonna
show
kill
up?
it.
What's that?
Oh, they're gonna kill it.
Oh, they're going to kill it. Maybe they kill baby Grogu. Oh my God, that'll get people
Why
talking.
would you put that?
Why would you even
Juju out
put
into the
that out
world?
into the universe?
Why?
So,
I mean, we still. Where is he? Where's
But-
Grogu in Rise of Skywalker?
but
What
here's the
happened?
thing too. I mean, you look at all these things that they ended off. They set up a couple of big things. Number one, Grogu got handed off to Luke. Number two, we find out in Book of Boba Fett that Mando has now a redemption quest he needs. Okay. Number three, big storyline they had dangling there. Bo-Katan needs that Darksaber, but Din's got it. That's a problem that needs to be worked out. And then, of course, we have the storyline of the retaking of Mandalore. What have they done with all those storylines? You left off season 2. There goes Grogu. You start off season 3. If you did not watch the Book of Boba Fett, but even if you did watch the Book of Boba Fett, all it took was a half an episode of, oh, my student doesn't want to stay and learn. All right, bye. And away goes Grogu, and that's it. He's right back. The Darksaber resolution was pathetic. I don't mind the idea that you beat the person that beat me. That's fine. But they've been walking around for 4 episodes knowing that. It's going, well, okay, now you can have this. So that's gone. The whole redemption arc of Din was solved in 3 episodes or 2. And then the whole retaking of Mandalore thing, you didn't even introduce it till the end of episode 5 and just completely skipped over it in episode 6. And we got 2 episodes left. I just don't know what they're doing here. So I'm not really surprised at the numbers drop at this point. Anyway, Chris, we see these numbers, 20, 25% drops, lowest rated episodes they've had, all this kind of stuff. If you tried to narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3 culprits behind those drops, what do you think the reasoning would be?
I mean, I think a big part of it is that we had the natural conclusion to our saga, right? Grogu got to Luke, going to train as a Jedi, did what he needed to do, right? And then their reconciliation, to your point, took place on a different show.
Yeah.
Now, were those some of the best episodes of that show? Absolutely. But when you have
Bryce Dallas Howard's episodes, by the way.
exactly. When you have those kind of meat episodes, those meaty episodes happen somewhere else, and then you come back to your season with everything just being pretty peachy keen, that takes away from a lot of the emotional drama that we built up there. You know, it was so emotional seeing Din part with Grogu, taking off his helmet, making sure his adoptive son knew his face. It was so important. And then, you know, we kind of boogie over that. I think they did a great job, too, of explaining kind of how bullshit the binary nature of the Jedi is. Of, well, there's only 2 paths for you, tiny baby, to choose. Like, I would have loved to explore that more. Do more of that in this season.
And you made a baby make that decision.
You made a baby.
Wait till
he's like a 50-year-old baby, but get on
still,
his level.
wait till he's in Yoda teenage
He is a
years
pre-lingual
before you make
Jedi.
them make that choice.
Yeah. Like, and I think that would have been something you could have absolutely explored more of that. You could have had Din working with Bo-Katan without Grogu with him for a while. You know, these are all things that we could have really, really dived into and sunk our teeth into. And right now it feels a little bit just muddled. Now, I didn't hate the episode as much as everyone else here. Taylor looked at me like I was crazy. It wasn't good, but I didn't think it was horrific. I really like Lizzo and Jack Black's chemistry. Love them together. Do more things together, you guys. But what I've liked about Mandalorian is also what happens to be a weakness this season. They've always been willing to take risks, telling different types of story, capsule stories within their season, while kind of tipping their toes back into the main storyline. This, because we've already had such a great story happen, and now we have all these other threads we need to tie up, now it just feels like it's kind of spaghetti at the wall. Let's try anything and see what sticks. And that is really, really making the show suffer. Now, we haven't seen Bryce Dallas Howard episodes this season yet.
This was
correct?
the first one.
This was it? Okay.
And it was the writing. It was
Yeah.
the direction was not the problem with this episode. It was the writing.
It's just, you know,
Here's
I'm a
an
little bummed.
another thing like you got to keep in mind about this too is I really do think, and I've got nothing to back this up with or to prove it. Okay, so this is just pure speculation on my part. I cannot help but wonder that the plan originally was that the end of season 2 was meant to be the end of Grogu's story. And then they were going to move on, but they realized that over the first 2 seasons, this is the moneymaker. Baby Yoda is the moneymaker of this franchise. And it almost feels like it was a quick decision to, well, we got to bring him back. We did finish the story, but we instantly got to bring him back, and we'll move on that way. And by the way, I see a lot of people, and this was a lot of people's problems with season 2, which I loved. A lot of people complain about, well, these are side stories. That is the classic pattern of like old Westerns. The gunslinger wanders into a new town.
Yeah.
Every week, a new problem. You know what did it great? Supernatural did a great job of this.
Yes.
Supernatural, where like every episode was an isolated side story, but there was always things in that episode that progressed the overall story, right? Whether they were pursuing the yellow-eyed demon or whether they're trying to capture Michael or doing whatever, right? And that's the thing I loved about Mandalorian season 2. I love the fact that every episode is kind of like serialized, but it moved the overall story forward at the same time. I don't mind that approach. And I don't mind that they did a side story in this. I just didn't like the side story at all. But whatever, that's just me. Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? According to reports, the numbers of Mandalorian have fallen by like 25%. What would you say the culprit is? Is it the quality of the episodes? Maybe you don't think that's the problem. Is it the gap between seasons? Was it the way they handled the Grogu situation? Was it something else entirely? The marketing? Whatever you guys think it is, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip the trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And there's no worries if you're not a pro in the kitchen. HelloFresh's foolproof recipes arrive pre-portioned and easy to prepare in just a few steps. You'll be feeling like Gordon frickin' Ramsay in no time. And guys, look, we're always looking for more ways to save money. HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% cheaper than takeout. I've told you guys before, Ann and I love using HelloFresh. Not only is it really easy to put together fantastic looking and tasting meals, but it's also a lot of fun, and you get this really great sense of accomplishment when you're looking at this prepared dish that you've made with your own hands. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea50 and use the code Campea50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea50 and using the promo code Campea50 for 50% off your first box ships free. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.